Welcome back to the Nose Plays Age of Wonders 3. We're going to continue our first look series with a part 4 video and hopefully dive into a few more features of the game in this next episode, but we'll just have to see how the pacing of it goes. We're trying to move along as quickly as I can to show off as much as I can, and we'll see if we end up playing this one all the way through. We might, but it really depends on how many people are watching. So if you're enjoying the videos, please share and like them. Let me know in the comment section below. That tends to keep me motivated to keep a series going, and to make sure that while I'm doing the series, I'm recording it. Every once in a while, I just get ahead of myself and start playing a game, forgetting to record, and then I'm several episodes ahead of where you guys would be, and that's one of the reasons why some of these series die when they do, is I've already moved on. So, but I'm a little bit more diligent about recording when I have a lot of people watching with me. So that's where we're at today. Gonna go ahead and pick up where we left off, and we just recently made contact with this city. We're able to get them to sign a peace treaty with us, and so it'll be what is it going to be? 4 turns left, and they will give us a notification, maybe a quest, maybe just an offer to join our empire. So we'll see what happens. They'll probably start as a vassal, and that would be just fine with me. We do have to decide what we want to do in terms of expansion. I was planning on having this unit kind of scout this lower region all the way down and clear this part of the map. I believe our heroes were going to head north because we need to start clearing some of these tiles. If we can clear these tiles, we can grow this city a little bit and start to take advantage of some of these other treasure sites. The other thing that I was interested in possibly doing is somewhere over here. It was like maybe right over here somewhere. We found a couple of gold mines, and I think maybe this is the site I'm thinking of. We found some gold mines and some various treasure sites. We could put a fortress over here and collect the treasure from those without actually having a city. And so that's something else that we may try to get done this game. But for now, we are kind of out of movement. I don't think there's any reason to split up anybody in our army at the moment. There's not really any parts of the map that you can uncover. One thing that's really important to do in the early game, if you're trying to min-max your resources, is always try to use up all of your movement points to uncover parts of the map you haven't explored yet, so you get a little bit of a preemptive view of what's around you. You saw me try to do that when I was preparing for this battle over here, and I headed down this road with my army just one or two tiles too far, and I couldn't get back to the battle. I was trying to utilize all my movement and uncover just a little bit of the map, but it didn't quite work out for me. I should have paid a little more attention. So we're going to go ahead and end the turn and move on to the next one. Alright, so first things first, let's go ahead and move this guy down just in case he uncovers something that we need to deal with, and that would make our army a better choice for that. I don't so far see any reason why he can't just snake down here, so that's fine so far. And this army, we could clear this enemy off. Let's see what we have here. A couple of birds. These are pretty weak attacks. Nothing real scary there. This unit has a lightning shock, which I believe is a ranged attack, and is a little bit tougher with 45 health. He may also have some resistances. Looks like he has blight protection, physical resistance, but he's weak to frost and fire damage and completely immune to shock. So that's going to make it a little difficult because all of our ranged units currently deal shock damage. That means we're going to have to fight this guy with melee units for the most part. And yeah, he's got 40% physical resistance. So we may not have the best units for this fight yet. I think we're going to wait and maybe try to clear him out a little bit later when I'm in a little bit better position to deal with him. Alright, it's going to be a couple turns before we get all the way back up here, but following the road is definitely going to be the quickest path for that. We do have the option of picking up one of these two units and swapping them out, or even taking them with us. I think what I might do is swap out one of these units for the other swordsman, and maybe swap out the high elf pikeman for the dwarven pikeman, just to give us some poison resistance on a unit like we used earlier. That will limit the number of ranged attacks we get, but our infantry are getting the bonus damage for our poison spell. So, and both of our heroes are also getting that, so. Okay, our city is ready for a new production of a unit. And actually, one thing we could do is go ahead and make our first scoundrel. Let's see if I want to do that first. There were a couple of buildings that I could build. The War Hall's pretty important. Gives us access to cavalry and to pikemen, which we need to discuss a little bit. Maybe in this next battle I'll talk a little bit more about pikemen and what's unique and good about them. This gives infantry that we produce a extra rank. I don't think that's worthwhile at the moment. We're not making a lot of infantry units. So yeah, let's go ahead and make our first scoundrel. Actually, we got to finish the siege workshop. This notification was actually for this city up here. And what are we going to do up here to kind of help with things? I think the most important thing we can do up here is build a shrine. And the reason that I think that's the case is because I want to cast Iron Grip on this city and get that extra morale going. You can see right now our morale is just on the edge of happy, and that's giving us a 15% boost to our income on all of our resources, but dropping the Iron Grip spell on this city will improve it by a significant margin, and we'll get a much larger percent bonus to all of our specs, all of our stats there. So I'm going to go ahead and cast it now, even though we haven't built the shrine yet. I'm going to queue this up. We'll get this done in 4 turns. We're going to run negative for just a few turns once we do get this spell cast, but that's going to be fine. We've already saved up over 237, and we do have a max capacity for mana that you can store up at any given time. Any extra that's gained over the max is lost, so you want to make sure that you are using spells regularly so that you're not wasting your mana resources. So going negative occasionally is not a bad thing at all. We're going to go ahead and cast that, and you can see from this one that we currently have Iron Grip and Poison Mastery active. That's costing us 40 mana crystals per turn. We're going to have another 20 added to that cost when this spell completes next turn. So, alright, let's see. What were we doing with this guy? We have... Oh, I also want to point out, I noticed in the last video when I was watching part of it, that when I was following that unit that ran by us, that Theocrat unit that ran by us, he was actually standing right here. And my vision was slightly impaired, but he clearly was right there, and I walked right by him and headed south. If I had headed just one more tile to the east, I would have clearly seen him, but he was there. He was visible. I should have noticed him. So we actually went the wrong way running after him. He probably went over here and is looking over in this area. He may have gone back by now. I really don't know where he's at, so there's no sense in actually continuing this chase. The one thing I could do, since I don't have any use for these berries right now, is I could run him over, grab these berries, and then run him up this way and see if we find that unit again. But that kind of is a waste of our time in that we'll get to see the unit, but we will not actually be uncovering more of the map, which is more important to me right now. I think what I'm going to do with this unit's going to clear this portion of the map. I'm going to go ahead and keep sending this unit down to the very bottom of the map and then maybe back up this way. But we're going to head south. We want to continue to uncover the areas that are closest to us. Okay, there's some berries there. That'll give us a little bit more movement to work with. And we found another player. So Julia of House Enoch is a High Elf Archdruid. We are neutral with her at the moment. So that's good to know. Let's see, she has Creation Magic, level 2. So she's going to get access to the higher level creation spells. There are 2 levels of magic for every type of magic. So you have your level 1, which gives you all of the low level spells and a little bit of a bonus near creation specific mana nodes. The level 2 version of any spell will give you the most powerful units, the highest level spells. So it kind of specializes you a little bit, and it also provides an additional bonus on top of the ability to actually transform neutral mana nodes to your specific type. So it's a pretty cool little trait if you do want to specialize in a particular type of magic. She also has the Explorer feature, which gives her extra vision and movement ability across the map, similar to the one we took, I believe. Or have. I guess we didn't choose to take it. This is a pre-made character, so. Okay, well, that's good to know that there is a city right here. The good news for us is that she is an elf and a druid, and they don't particularly do great in Arctic territory. They don't do terrible, but I guess we'll just follow this road to the north for now. We may want to try and make peace with Julia so that we can safely spend our time focusing our armies to the north and taking out the Tigran character. We've already picked up some abilities with our hero that are going to help with that. The Devout Slayer in particular comes to mind from last video. Alright, we can go ahead and get this cast now. Now when I click on this, you can see we went from 15% to 30%, so we doubled the boost that we were getting from all of those resources. So that's good. Not as good as I was hoping, but we'll be okay. And it's only going to take us 2 turns now to get this completed because of that boost instead of 4. So actually 3 turns in total, because we did spend 1 turn already working on it. But it did shave 1 turn off just to get that up. So you see how that was a pretty effective little thing there that we did. We are running negative on mana crystals for the short period of time, but as soon as we get this temple constructed, we'll be back in the positive, which will be good. This city can't really build any units yet, and I don't know that that's a big problem. I don't know that I'm going to be building any units in this city. There's no production nodes anywhere near it, so it's not going to have great production no matter what we do. What you really need for a city that's ripe for building armies is to have some nodes. There is this one, I guess, +5 production. But you really need to have some of these treasure sites or these nodes that have big bonuses to production, and those become powerhouse cities. We don't really have any over here either, but we're already much more along. So it would make more sense to spend our time upgrading this city to get better units than to do it just a little ways down the road. So we're probably not going to build a lot of these things like the barracks, but we might build the observatory, the builder's hall, just get the basic tier 1 buildings all built. Right now we have the laboratory and the temple is in queue, so we'll see. We got a couple turns before we have to figure out exactly what we're doing. That was for Iron Grip. This city did go ahead and finish production of this, and now we're working on the Elf Scoundrel. It's only going to take us 1 turn to get that guy, and he does have really good movement. He also has pretty decent damage. It appears that the bonus damage for the poison spell that we cast only applies to the melee strike. It's not applying to his crossbow attack, which is a little disappointing. I thought the way that I read that spell... Okay, it doesn't really say... Yeah, it just says all infantry, cavalry, and irregular units gain +2 blight strength. It doesn't say anything specifically about melee strength. So... yeah. So like when I look at this unit, where does it show my stats? I see my health, I see my movement, and I see my defenses. I'm looking more specifically for my, oh here we go, melee strike. Maybe my hero? Melee strength. Where is it at? Yeah, ranged strength. It says it increases your strength. It doesn't specify whether it's melee strength or ranged strength. I think that would be helpful. I know it shows daggers, but it should say melee strength because that appears to be the only strength that it boosts. I was under the impression it would boost both. So now I'm a little bit less excited about grabbing the irregular unit. I was hoping that his damage was going to be buffed. But lucky for us, he's queued up, but we haven't actually started making him yet. There's no production lost if we cancel him from the queue. So we could go ahead and make something else. I kind of want to maybe grab another High Elf Initiate. They're going to have a fair amount of magical damage, but we do already have a couple of those. So maybe we really don't need one. Do we just make another Scoundrel anyways to kind of scout over here and be kind of a watchtower for this area? I think we do. We'll make a Scoundrel just to be a scout and keep an eye on the Tigrans. If we start to see them sending armies this way, we'll have to kind of prepare and switch up our production to more military units. The next thing I really want to build is this Master's Guild, but it's going to take us a while. It has a pretty hefty gold cost, and we're not making a ton of gold just yet. The other thing that we could consider doing, and I was talking about it earlier, is building a builder or a settler and getting another city or a fortress down. But let's get through this turn before we worry about it too much. Okay. We found another city? A Tigran city. They would be willing to sign a peace treaty with us, but it's going to cost us a lot more than the other ones because Tigrans were not so diplomatically inclined to care for. The courtesan ambassadors is allowing us the opportunity to possibly do that, but it takes a while. And you can see the favor costs, how they increase or decrease based on where you're at. So this is a good screen to kind of take a look at every now and then. We want to go this way, I guess. It looks like this is the only bridge. Putting a fortress right here and putting some units there would basically cut off access. Well, I guess not, because there'd be 2 tiles here. So you'd have to defend both tiles, unfortunately. Yeah, having 2 bridges here makes it a little harder to kind of create a choke point. Okay. That being said, we don't really need to send him up and around this way any longer. We'll send him back down this way because the scoundrel's going to be the one doing the searching over there. Alright, let's continue this guy's movement. Okay. So there's just not much over here. There might be a cave down here somewhere. I'm kind of surprised we haven't found a single cave yet that I've noticed. If you've noticed it and I just missed it, maybe point it out in the comment section for me. But just moving around the map at a glance, I'm not seeing it. So, all right. We need to make a quick pit stop here and decide who's coming and who's going to stay. So I'm thinking damage-wise it makes sense to maybe pick up this guy and this guy and swap out a couple of units. So I'm going to move this guy out of the army and this guy out of the army. And then we're going to move this guy and this guy back in. That way we actually have a ranged unit defending our city with the walls. Ranged units are much more effective in the walls. I do want to continue to try to level up this Storm Sister, so we're going to keep her with us for now. And then we're going to finish our movement up this way. This shouldn't be too difficult of a fight. We're going to have to be careful of the snake, but the rest of the units we should be able to handle. The snake's going to be priority number 1 because of the massive amount of poison damage that it does, and because we're elves. If we do happen to get targeted, we'll want him to target the dwarf. Send this guy down this way. Get some more of the map uncovered. Just 1 tile short of being able to grab those berries and take a second move. And we met the final player. And it is an orc warlord. Alright, well, orc warlords are pretty straightforward. They build really powerful armies and they smash you in the face. Orcs as a faction have incredibly powerful infantry units because orcs are just really good at carrying big heavy things and smashing people with them. So they're going to have very strong melee fighters and be hard to kill. They get bonus health, but their resistances are lowered, so they're weak to magic. And they have less effective archers than most of the other factions. Again, powerful cavalry, infantry, pikemen, lots of anything with melee is basically really strong. Okay, well that's good to know. This is going to be dangerous if we let him get out of control. But we do have a little bit of a buffer between us. He's all the way on the other side of the map. So that's good for us at the moment. We're going to want to stay out of his territory though. And unfortunately, I don't have a good way of crossing his territory without pissing him off. Because if we trespass, he's not going to like that too much. So we may or may not want to do that. We do have a quest. I'm going to go ahead and take this quest. They want us to raise a watchtower. We would get a goblin butcher, which is a tier 2 goblin pikeman. Interesting. Pretty high defense for a tier 2 goblin. We could also get 105 gold for it. We'll go ahead and accept it. I don't know if we're going to get to it. Letting that quest fail I don't think has any major ramifications for us. But I do want to try to clear at least these 2, maybe even these 4 tiles before heading down this way. So we'll see how much time we have. Looks like we can get all the way to the city this turn. And we have our High Elf Scoundrel. So we're at 147 gold. The Prismatic Spire pulls down a mighty beam of cosmic energy from the stars and deals basically every type of damage to an enemy each round of combat. Enemies behind the city walls cannot be targeted. So basically this is like a defensive mechanism that we can set up. If we get attacked, any units outside the walls take a little bit of damage every turn. It looks like it only targets a single random enemy unit, but that's a fairly significant amount of damage. So that's almost 20 points of damage plus or minus any resistances or weaknesses. So I don't know that we need it. I'm not feeling very threatened at the moment, but it is cheap enough to build. The other thing we could do is produce a temple, which does give us the High Elf Storm Sister, and that's a really powerful unit that I think we need to consider getting pretty early here. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and put that in play. That will also help with our mana situation. Oh, I miscalculated this. So unfortunately, if we had gotten the rogue done 1 turn later, or 2 turns later, we would have gotten an additional rank for free. I don't think that really is going to matter all that much. I want to get Corrupt Killers. And we're going to send this guy... right over here to pick up that gold we saw earlier. And scout down this way, maybe? This is going to be a really good city for us. Getting dwarves on our side will be really helpful. Alright, so that helps a little bit with giving us a little bit more mana. That was the temple we built up here. I don't really want to be spending a bunch of gold on this city right now. We're not really threatened by anything. I think what I'm going to do is increase our gold production for a few turns. could also increase our research rate. That would be helpful. And we could also increase our population growth. That would also be helpful. That lowers the next expansion by 7, from 10 to 7. So if we were to maintain this rate of growth for the next 7 turns, we would expand another tile. 7 turns at 13 gold. That's going to be just shy of 100. I think it's important for us to go ahead and get this city grown a little bit. Once we've cleared these tiles, we will have a little bit more income from this city, and it'll be a little bit more worthwhile to maybe build some of these other upgraded buildings. But until then, let's just work on this. So I'll queue up this about 6 times and we'll see. We got an alliance proposal, but we are 6 gold short, so we're gonna have to try and see if we can do this next turn. We have expanded 1 more tile here, but unfortunately, as I pointed out earlier, we didn't capture any more treasure nodes, and there aren't any more for another couple of turns, so it's gonna be 1, 2 before we get to them. But if we do get 1, 2, we could get this, and I thought I saw a fire node somewhere. Oh, that's what this is. Never mind. Water node and a fire node, it looks like, maybe. We failed this quest. The reason we failed this quest probably has to do with somebody else raising it or knocking down that watchtower. I don't know. Maybe somebody else taking the city? It wasn't these guys. Who was it that gave us that quest? It was the goblins that we met over here. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. I have a feeling maybe somebody else tried to talk to them. Normally I wouldn't want to grab these, but I might as well. What we want to do is use it up so that nobody else can take advantage of it. 126. I really want the Dwarven City. If I take this city up on their offer, I won't be able to do the Dwarven City next turn, I don't think. Because they needed over 200. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. And we might make a little change here. So originally I was planning on doing all of this. Let's go back to the Dwarven City real quick and see. They wanted 246. Yeah, I'm not going to be at 246 in 1 turn now. And even with another 13, that only puts me at 110, 124, 224. Yeah. So we're going to have to wait another turn anyways. So I guess we'll just leave it. I was considering moving this to merchandise. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. So it'll take us a couple turns. I'm not as worried about anybody else taking that city. The reason I want to grab this one over here right away is because if we don't, then there's a good chance that somebody else will make it a vassal before we will. And if they have to fight to make it a vassal because it's already under our control, that's a little bit better than them having those resources up front. Alright, I want to move down this way a little bit. Okay. So this is not too terrible, but definitely something that this unit by himself is not going to be able to handle. So we want to move as far away from that as possible. We may still get attacked, but if we do and we lose this Elf Initiate, he has 0 experience, so I'm not too concerned about it. He's just a scout, that's why we made him. I also have my Scoundrel, and I have some options with him. I could get him out and scouting, which is what I wanted to do, particularly kind of just sit over here by this bridge so that we can see any traffic moving along it by the other players and see if they start becoming aggressive. It would be nice if he expanded back this way and kind of boxed the orc in, and they had the little scuffle before they dealt with me. We got now shooting stars. These random cosmic happenings pop up here and there. All units gain lucky, and all units that were already lucky gain very lucky. Well, that's unfortunate. So let's talk a little bit about lucky. So hostile attacks and spells used against this unit have a chance to miss. The chance is greater when morale is high, while low, morale units are never lucky. Having lucky more than once makes a unit very lucky, increasing its lucky chance to 50%. What this basically means is, under normal conditions in the game, any attack that you send at an enemy unit will deal damage. Damage is reduced by a number of factors, including range. You notice my damage for my ranged weapons is much lower at long range than it is at close range. Line of sight penalties, they don't reduce your chance to hit. They actually reduce the amount of damage you inflict. But you always have a 100% chance to do damage. So it removes a good portion of the RNG from the equation. There is still a little bit of RNG in the spread of the damage, but you'll always do some damage when you attack units. That is true except when a unit has the lucky trait. And the lucky trait is kind of like a permanent dodge effect. This is really annoying because it introduces a lot of RNG into the game and makes it incredibly hard to predict how battles will go. There's a lot more deviation in how they can potentially go when you have a lot of units with lucky. For the next 5 turns, all units are going to get lucky. Or very lucky, depending on... Oh, I'm not a big fan of that. Definitely have to pay attention. Speaking of lucky, halflings as a faction are the faction that primarily have the lucky trait. It's built into their race, and so all halfling units basically have some level of lucky attached to them, which makes them really annoying to deal with. They are, however, very squishy, and so that makes up for the fact that they're able to dodge your attacks. Right now, even powerful units are going to have lucky, which is very scary if you're planning on getting in a fight. Okay, we largely need to save our gold I can go ahead and queue up this prismatic spire. There's no real pressing urgency to get this built, but it is one of the cheapest things that I can actually get produced right now. And since we're not really manufacturing or using any archer units at this time, the shooting ground's not really that valuable to us, nor is the arena since we're not building infantry units. But this could come in handy, and we don't want to have to build it when it's too late. So I'm going to go ahead and queue it up now. We're going to have to wait one more turn for this, but that's fine. We'll do it next turn. That shouldn't be a problem. I don't like that at all. I really want these dwarves in my empire, though. While we're here, we can take a look at one of their heroes, level 2 Goblin Rogue. So that's good to know. Has he upgraded any cool stuff yet? Not really. I guess Lucky at level 1 is only a 10% chance, so it's not as big as I was thinking. I thought it might be 25%. He does have backstab. Okay. Let's kind of head this way and get as much of this uncovered as we can. Alright, we want to take this out first. The reason we want to get this one done first is because it's already in our domain, but you can see it's not highlighted like this one, where you can see a little bit of blue coloring there. It's kind of grayed out, and that means we're not actually gaining anything from it because there are non-friendly units standing on it. So these independent units are going to have to go. We're going to go ahead and get into this battle, and we have a very likely victory, so that's good. It's showing that our army is strong enough to take on these. Because this is a mana node, there will be some type of weird magical special effect. These are semi-random. So we have great healing showers. Let me finish reading that. 12 health to friendly units in a 2 hex radius around target random unit, and dispels fire and buffs debuffs. Okay, well, so it basically puts fires out. Where are the snakes at? Okay, so where are dwarves at? Ah, perfect. So the snakes can get to these tiles and they can spit. We want to make sure we keep our elves out of range of their spit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my dwarves up here, and we're going to put them into guard. And then we're just going to kind of move everybody else back around this way, away from the enemy. And behind our dwarf. I think I want to move him here. And to change the position, I've mentioned it in a previous video, it's a subtle detail of this game that I don't know where you pick it up, but I learned it from another YouTuber. What you do is you mouse over the unit that you have highlighted, hold down the right mouse button, and then drag it to the tile you want them to face. So pretty important because of how flanking works and how critical flanking is to this game. But yeah, we definitely want to protect our units. I guess I'm going to put her right here for now. And get her facing that way. And then we'll just bring these units as far this way as we can. And we're going to just put everybody into guard. Now, the one thing that we could do, since we're not casting any spells right now, we have plenty of mana, is we can go ahead and cast Moving Target on our dwarves again. And that's going to make them incredibly dangerous for these snakes to come and attack. But they probably will anyways, because that's what they do. Ah, that's right. They have a ranged attack. Okay, we got lucky there and dodged the attack, so that was good. So we took a big hit of damage to this character. We want to take out these snakes as quickly as possible because they are the most dangerous unit we're dealing with here. Let's take a look and see if snakes have any innate weaknesses. They have protection from blight. No weaknesses, but no other protections besides blight. So using our blight attack against him is probably not going to work very well. But this heavy crossbow will take out about half of his life. Our musket can also take out about half of his life. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. Whoops. That is not what I wanted to do. I accidentally charged him instead of using my attack, which barely did any damage to him. That is really unfortunate. And it's put my hero in a position where I can't really shoot as well as I'd like to. I can move her over here and get a better shot, but we don't have enough damage with this character alone to actually kill the snakes. Okay, now we do, but we're gonna have to be careful. Fortunately, because they're now facing her, we can actually get all the way behind them. Unfortunately, even getting all the way behind them still allows this unit to move into our guys. What about the penguins? Yeah, the penguins are out of range. Do we have any ranged units? Okay, the sisters can finish these guys off. We don't need to do a lot of damage, we just need to do something. So let's get her over here. Finish the snakes off. That took way more attacks than I needed to. In this situation, we would take 2 attacks, but deal 2 attacks. I don't think that's a good trade, and I would much prefer to stay in a defensive position. What we don't want to do is stay in a position where we can get flanked. So right now these dire penguins are going to be able to get behind us, and that's going to put us in a very bad position. But you can see if we try to move, because this unit still has some action points left on it, it will get attacks of opportunity against us unless we can find a way to burn some of those action points. What we could also do is we could move this unit into a tile that defends its flank, and that might be the best choice. Can I change this unit's facing? Yes. Okay, I can change its facing. So now we are not going to be flanked from this tile or this tile or this tile, and we can go into guard. This unit can come over here and defend this flank. And do I want to face like this maybe? That pretty much protects both of our flanks. Alright, so then how do I want to use this guy? I don't think this guy's going to move. But I really don't want him flanking any of our units. If I stand here, he won't be able to flank our hero. So that's what I'm going to do for now. And then we'll just turn him this way. Put him into guard. He could still attack this hero, but not from the flank. Flank attacks are really, really dangerous. That's unfortunate. So we got the heal on the one that was injured. Got one lucky. So we did really good there. Unfortunately, that's going to allow that unit to get flanked once, but not too bad. All in all, not too bad. Now, we can do a flank attack on this guy. But before we do that, let's use these sisters to turn them around. So I can get 3 shots on him. If I move the sisters to there, that gives me a little bit extra damage because we're at closer range. And we don't have any kind of penalties from this range, so yeah. Flanking, bonus damage. That will turn the penguins around. And that will allow this unit... we've already used up all of our attacks during the guard. But that will allow this unit to get some experience if we want, or one of our heroes. I'm tempted to go ahead and use her. So we'll go ahead and send her over here. And just go ahead and shoot. As long as there's no lucky roll, we're good. And then he can fire and take this guy out. How many hit points does he have left? Yeah, we don't have enough hit points or enough damage to make this type of an attack really worthwhile. So what we really want to do is pikemen have first strike. They would be okay to come in and swing. We would have a pretty reasonable chance of killing this unit, but there is still a chance that we would not. So what we're going to do instead is take a shot with this and see if we can't finish it off that way and get our heroes some more experience. Alright, that was a pretty easy battle. We took a little bit of damage on this unit, but he'll heal most of it back in about 2 turns. And then a little bit of damage here. But again, nothing too bad. And now we're back up to 36. So we definitely want to be casting our defensive spells when possible. Because we have so many resources. I don't think I want to immediately dive into combat with this elephant. And looking over here, we have a hunter. So 3 hunters of different races and a shaman, which is a halfling. This is a support unit. Support units tend to have lots of cool status effect type of things. So we have an entangling touch. Buffs for your units, like Awakened Spirit is a buff. But their attacks tend to be pretty weak. We don't need to get that cleared off right away. That's going to be 2 tiles away before we get that uncovered. The next 2 things we want to uncover are this and this. And we want to make sure that our units are leveled up and strong before we get to this one, because this is going to be a pretty difficult fight for us, potentially. The lucky thing may actually make it harder, but we'll just have to see. We rolled pretty good RNG. I don't think they got a single lucky roll, and we got at least 2 or 3 lucky rolls, so we were the lucky ones this time. I'm going to go ahead and move this unit over 1, just so we're in position to attack this when we are ready, and we don't need to waste any of our movement. And we'll go ahead and finish their turn. Okay, we got away from that undead camp. We'll go ahead and move over here and... Hello. She's already got 2 heroes. So she has a rogue. This is a different rogue. She has 2 rogues, it looks like. Okay. What level is she? She's level 2 as well. And a dread monkey. The archdruids have the ability to summon all kinds of wild animals, and so we'll see a lot of wild animals in her armies. I don't think we're going to be able to search any more in that direction, so I guess we need to maybe head this way. Well, I'd like to get up against her border so we can see a little bit further. I guess we'll just move down here. Ah, yeah, we can go this direction. Okay. If she doesn't attack us, we could do a little diplomacy with her just to see where we're at. I would actually like a peace treaty with her if she's interested. At the moment she's indifferent to us, so we'll go ahead and send it and see what happens. And then this guy, we're going to send him over to that bridge to keep it scouted, but before we do, we're going to go ahead and take a peek in here with him. Okay, this is definitely going to be a tough fight. So a warg is just a something like a cavalry unit. It's just a wild animal with a lot of movement speed, but not a very powerful attack. A hellhound is a little bit more scary because it deals fire damage and has significantly higher defense and health. It's basically a tier 2 version of a warg. And then we have a bunch of reanimators. Magic bolts deals blight and cold damage. Melee strikes have a little bit of spirit damage. They can heal undead units. This isn't as scary as I thought. I think we can handle this with our squad of 6, but definitely not with this rogue. So we're going to go ahead and get out of there and keep heading this direction. Another thing that we have the ability to cast are Grimbeak Crows, and these guys have flying, which makes them really good for getting around the map. It'll cost us 9 mana per turn to get one of these out, but I think it's worthwhile to go ahead and cast one of these now and get another scout that we can kind of fly over some of these other areas and uncover some more of the map that we're having a little trouble getting access to. Alright, so they're clearing these treasure tiles. They cleared this tile. I thought they also cleared this one, but... Oh, never mind. They cleared both of these. Yeah, these are the 2 they cleared. They are a stack of 5 now, and you can see she's got a bunch of animals with her. I did notice that her hero that was with her is gone. He may have died in one of the combats during her turn. which would actually be good for us. Because of the high morale, we managed to score some free research, so that's good. Having high morale is always a good thing. And that finished Corrupted Killers research a little bit quicker. That does mean that if we manage to keep some of these scoundrels alive, we could potentially level them up into a much more powerful unit. Need to pick some new research. You know, since we're going to be... Yeah, we should have picked this up a little earlier. Since we're going to be uncovering treasure sites here pretty soon, the value for gold pickups is increased by 20%. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect the types of gear we find, but blessed target friendly unit gets some resistance and a bunch of morale for a few turns. That's not a terrible spell. Quick Dash, restore 15 health and 50% of your movement points to target friendly unit. Yes, please. One of our heroes leveled up. We saved... Oh no, this isn't the one we saved points for. So we have 5 points and we're a higher level now. We could get Wizard Hunters. That's a pretty good one. Everybody in his army would gain magic resistance and deal extra damage to enemies. Summoned enemies, I guess. That'll be good. What else do we have access to? Immolation. Melee and ranged attacks can inflict fire damage. Imperial Authority. Forge Aprons gives everybody in the army fire resistance. Okay, I think what I'd like to do for now is give him a little bit more defense and some more hit points. And we'll save the rest of his points for now. I want to make him kind of a tanky unit to protect my queen. Some of these other abilities are good, but they're only good if your hero is leading an army by themselves. And since he's not leading an army... Ooh. Guardian Flame would have been a really good one to grab. Any spells that heal units are really important to try to pick up early game. Because that's basically how you get get units leveled up. You heal them up as much as possible in between fights so that they're never at risk of dying, as long as you don't make a really boneheaded decision, as I've been prone to do on occasion. But we're going to save this point for now. 4 more turns of that. You are now at peace with Julia. Okay, so she accepted our peace. I like that. Maybe we can get an alliance with her at some point too, though that's not really going to be 100% necessary. Because we're at peace, we're going to get to see some of the things that happened. So she did lose her hero in that fight with the Frostlings. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing for us at this point. She is kind of our buffer from the orcs, and having her weaken too much doesn't really help us all that much. We are pretty much healed up. I think we can handle this pretty easily. Elephants are tier 2 units, and they're pretty tough, but I don't really want to wait another turn. What is his health at? 33. Another 8 would put him at 41. We'll wait one more turn, max her health out, get him mostly healed, and then we'll go ahead and do this battle. I don't want to do it prematurely. Also, by waiting one turn, we will have access to this spell, and that could be pretty important at some point. So, yeah, we'll just wait. Since we're at peace with these guys, we can move through their territory now. Slow moving through the mountains, unfortunately. And we're at peace with her. But again, mountains are going to be a little bit of a problem, so... she's not going to actually let us walk into her territory. I forgot, we need to negotiate or open borders with her. I don't think we really need to open borders. I think I've uncovered enough of the map at this point. I just wanted to see... I wanted to get eyes on her city, actually. Maybe we can do that by coming over here. Alright, and then this guy... is going to be able to get some vision over here. Aha, just as I suspected. So what probably happened is the Tigrans met the goblins, and instead of trying to peacefully subdue them, they just took over the city. And that's why we ended up losing that quest earlier. This is what I was afraid of, and this is why I wanted to send a scout over here. Because if they are expanding aggressively this direction instead of that direction, that means that the orcs are going to be able to have a little bit of free reign over there in that northwestern corner of the map, because there's no player over there right now. And it also means that we're probably going to have an early conflict with these guys. The fact that we should be able... Crap. We are just shy again. We should be able to afford the dwarves, but we can't because we're... Oh, they've already been taken over by Julia, so we blew it. That's a little frustrating. I really needed the dwarves. So I goofed up pretty significantly. We missed out on 2 opportunities for vassals. 3. 1, 2. Yeah, okay, 2. I can't count. We did get this one, and we haven't lost it yet, so that's good. Well, that's very frustrating. I wonder how I'm going to deal with that. Unfortunately, by making peace with her already, we can't even go in here and take it from her very easily. I guess what this really means is that we're going to have to spend all of our focus expanding this direction into the Tigrans' territory and crushing him as quickly as possible. Alright, just a thing to note here. This happened somewhere around turn 18. So it looks like the AI at this difficulty is grabbing their first city outside of their capital sometime around turn 15 to 18. That appears to be the case because we saw this city fall to the Tigrans around that same time. We were much faster at getting our first city, and part of that has to do with the fact that we were able to scout with the cartographer's map and get a unit here right away. So we're at a little bit of an advantage in that respect. We've had our second city longer than anybody else, but I still don't feel very good about the fact that we delayed grabbing this vassal far too long. Also, not quite sure what that is. Some kind of a sphinx. I thought maybe it was a cave entrance, but it's not. I still have yet to see a cave entrance. And I'm beginning to wonder, I'm almost certain I selected an underground map. So, yeah, it's showing up as being here, but I haven't found any way to get into it yet. Oh, wait a second. No, that's not a cave entrance. Yeah, we're still looking for it. We'll find it eventually. Alright, Julia's regrouping her army. We have an opportunity to do a quest for these Tigrans. A Sun Guard is a really decent pikeman, maybe one of the best. We will accept their quest at this point. We got the Spire completed. A hero offers to join us. A Theocrat is a good hero to have. An Orc Theocrat is an interesting combination, but we will take it. This is an expensive investment, but she is already level 3, so that's good. One of the reasons that I wanted to go ahead and grab her right now is because at this point we have to be careful of having just some random scout come in here and try to take our city. It doesn't take but a single unit to take over a city that's not defended. And so we definitely want to have some defenses, and she's going to help supplement those defenses. So definitely going to increase her health a couple times. Bestow Heart is an important healing ability that we'll pick up. Healing Aura is pretty useful, but so is Sacred Arms. All units in the hero's army gain an additional point of spirit strength. I think that might be worth more than any of the other spells. So we'll pick that up, and we have the ability to cast our Stormbeak Crow. I'm going to cast him over here, and we're going to send this crow this direction. You can summon a crow next to any hero or any city tile, but you can't summon it just anywhere you want. So summoned units do have some restrictions on where they can be cast. But we'll just keep sending this crow across the water there. That'll give us some more vision over there. And then what else do we want? Treasure rating, bard, blind. I know what we want. We want more casting points. So right now, casting spells, we don't have a lot of casting points. And when we cast 1 or 2 spells, we're out of casting points for a while, and it takes time for those to regenerate. By increasing our casting points, we can cast more spells more frequently, and we can cast bigger spells that take longer, faster. And so some spells that might take 1 or 2 turns will be able to be cast instantly, and other spells that take 2 or 3 turns will be able to be cast in 1 or 2 turns by having more of these. There are multiple levels of this, and so you can actually upgrade this numerous times. It also increases your mana capacity by 100, so you can actually stockpile more mana crystals. So we're going to go ahead and pick up that. That won't take very long. This is still going for 3 more turns. And we're going to have to do something cheap for a turn. I think what we're going to do is build a Storm Sister, which gives us another good defensive ranged unit in this city. And then we should have enough. Wow. It didn't seem like... we should have enough to do a few things come next turn. We'll have about 150 gold, so we can build one of these tier 2 buildings, or maybe the observatory. but we'll figure that out next turn. Alright, this army is healed up enough to go ahead and engage in this fight. And we have the option to let them run away or to fight them. I'm tempted to go ahead and let them run away at this point. We won't really get much of a reward by letting them run away, and we will miss out on the experience for fighting this army. But these elephants, because they're pretty powerful melee units that are going to charge into us, I'd rather not deal with them if I can help it. And that will give me one more turn to heal up the last unit, and then get over here and try and take on this temple. So we'll let them run for now. We did get a little bit of a reward, but it would have been better if we had fought. And it's going to take us 2 turns to get to this anyways, so everybody's going to be at full health when we finally do fight in this next battle. I guess we're just going to keep moving this direction. And try to uncover a little bit more of the map while this guy's still alive. Alright. I was hoping to get eyes on her city, and I still can't do it. We did find some random animal units just wandering around here. These are aggressive. They probably spawned from one of those animal campsites, and they're going to cause problems for us. This unit's probably dead when the independents take their turn. We'll get attacked more than likely. But he served his purpose for the most part, so it was nice knowing you, High Elf Initiate. You will be sorely missed. Alright, we need to get eyes on things down here. That's what this guy's all about. Okay. So at this point in time, he does not actually own this city. This is just a vassal city. We could attack it and probably take it over at this point. It's not a very powerful city, and it doesn't have very many powerful units defending it. The problem is we're going to have to declare war on him to do that. And so before we declare war, I'm going to be real careful in moving over here and getting some vision on what's going on. I can actually move on to that. Okay. So we can see the border of his territory and the border of this territory. We can see everything in between. We're just going to park this guy over here for now and let him kind of be a watchtower for us temporarily. And I think that's where we're going to wrap this video up for today. So join us next time when we enter this tomb, clear it out, hopefully get some cool gear for our heroes, and maybe start a war. Until then, this has been The Nose Plays. I hope you guys are enjoying this series, and have a great day.